The headlines are screaming that the Australian property market is going to crash in the second half of 2026, but the data is suggesting the complete opposite. While the most expensive houses in Sydney and Melbourne are taking a massive bath right now, two of Australia's other capital cities are expected to do double-digit growth in 2026, which is why today, Simon and I are breaking down the exact winners and losers for the remainder of 2026 so you don't get caught on the wrong side of this downturn.
Now that we're at the midway point of 2026 and there's been some changes throughout the year with the tax changes and rising interest rates, basically all major banks, analysts and forecasters have downgraded their 2026 property market predictions. Now let's start with looking at the 5 major banks across the country and their property market predictions for the rest of the year.
Now starting with the big bank first, or the big boys over there at CBA, they expect these changes to property related taxes to drag prices down by almost 5% between now and the end of the year, with their hint of a bit of silver lining being potential rate cuts in middle to late 2027, which would be very, very nice. Now, when we look at ANZ's original predictions at the start of this year, they were pretty bullish on the market for ANZ, which is normally the opposite side of the equation. But according to the mainstream media at the moment, they are absolutely slashing their forecast for the rest of the year, saying that house prices could be down, wait for it, by 2.1%. Now, NAB is also forecasting a drop across the combined capital cities in Australia when you factor in the rising prices in Perth and Brisbane versus the declining prices in Sydney and Melbourne. We're talking about a 2% drop between now and the end of the year.
If you take a look at Westpac's forecast for the remainder of the year, they don't expect any changes to the Australian property market, with a 0% change in property values for the rest of the year. And Westpac are actually predicting property prices to go up across the board next year by about 3%.
Now, I think one of the most important things that we need to recognize as investors in 2026 is how to separate the noise, but also how to separate the different cities around Australia for their different stages of their property cycles. Now, it's very, very clear in the last 7 years that the likes of Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Sunny Coast, Gold Coast, according to H-Tag's data, have done over 100% price growth. But when you compare those markets to the likes of Geelong or Bendigo or Ballarat or Melbourne, for example, some of those markets during the same period of time have only done between 25 and about 50% growth. So there are going to be winners and losers this year, which we're all completely aware of. But when you start to separate the most expensive properties in Australia, where the most declines are occurring at the moment, and then move away from the markets that have already absolutely cranked in the next 7 years, you can begin to design a property investment strategy that's not just going to work out for you medium term, but longer term has the potential to do significantly better than those markets that have already cranked in value recently.
So even though the media will have you believe that the Australian property market is going to crash in 2026, when we look at the forecast from the biggest banks who have got so much skin in the game, writing up the vast majority of home loans in Australia, are all predicting a marginal slowdown in the national average. But if we start to shift our focus and we look into more independent economists and analysts, what are these guys saying?
Now, I love this stuff. It blows my mind. Like, I know it's serious out there for so many people, and it's probably scary for some of them as well. But for some reason in markets like this one and COVID, and at the end of the last GFC when I bought most of my properties, when everybody else is running one way, we seem to be running the other way over here at Pumped On Property, and it's always been that way. So this doesn't scare me at all, but I've got to say that this article from the ABC, effectively saying data tracking firms are echoing the warning of a housing downturn as the historic 30-year property super cycle faces severe headwinds. I'm like, I don't think these guys could write anything better than that. It's absolutely amazing, and it's just so good for clicking on it. And then once you get into the article, it's referring to a couple of the independent economists in the country saying that certain conditions are setting themselves up for marginal property decline. Now, when we look at what Tim and the team over at Cotality are saying at the moment, they're in alignment with the banks that for the remainder of 2026, Australia-wide will begin to see a softening and a bit of a downturn in the market, but obviously with different states and different markets across the country winning and losing over the next 6 months. While Tim Lawless over there at SQM Research, who does the incredible Boom and Bust report, has issued a formal downgrade to their 2026 forecasts, basically saying that Sydney should be down about -2% to -6% this year. Melbourne should end up about -1% to -4%. And then the severe shortages of property, plus the population growth and the low vacancy rates up here in Queensland and over there in Perth, should result in Perth doing somewhere between 10 and 13% by the end of this year, while in Brisbane, 7 to 11% this year. So again, it's a very, very split market between now and the end of 2026.
Now, we've been following the Australian property market so closely for such a long period of time, and what we've come to realise is the market's constantly changing. It was back in 2018, after the Royal Banking Commission, where we saw the largest and sharpest decline in property prices in a single year, where property values came down by just over 8% in 2018. Then again in 2020, we saw a small slowdown at the beginning of the year due to COVID, before a quick pick back up. And then once again, in the interest rate rising cycle of 2022, Australian home prices declined by 5%, Sydney by 10%, Melbourne by 6.2%, in the year of 2022. But despite all of these downturns in 2018, 2020, 2022, and maybe 2026, property values are still up by over 70% in Sydney over the last 10 years. They're up by over 125% in Brisbane over the last 10 years. Perth up 8.2%. Adelaide up by 114%. All of this data courtesy of HTAG. And if you're willing to zoom out even further and look at longer term returns, from 1992 up until 2022, the average house prices in Melbourne went up by 519%. They went up by 507% in Sydney, up by 389% in Brisbane, and 324% in Perth. So we've seen some incredible capital growth rates over the last 30 years across the board in Australian property.
And it's important to remember that during those times, we've gone through COVID, we've gone through the Royal Banking Commission, we've gone through the interest rate rising and falling, we've gone through 9/11, the dot-com boom and bust, the GFC. Like, there have been so many moments during this period that have been super scary. We've gone through oil crises, we've gone through hyperinflation, and we've gone through periods where unemployment spiked completely out of control. And looking back, it looks like this beautiful thing, and every single one of our parents and grandparents were just these perfect investors that absolutely knocked everything out of the park. But in reality, the average house price in the year 2000 across Australia's 8 capital cities was just $200,000. Fast forward to 2026, the average house price is now worth 1.2 mil. Now, as Simon said, regardless of where you look at, whether it's Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, or Perth, people that bought 30 years ago in those cities had no idea or no expectation that they were going to average over 10% per annum when you looked at the total return divided by that 30-year period in each of those cities. And what I know for certain is there's going to be bumpy years like 2026 that represent an incredible buying opportunity, especially if you can also target the most undervalued markets, suburbs, and properties in the country on top of a low period in sentiment. And there's also going to be incredible years like 2025 where we saw property prices across the board go absolutely ballistic Australia-wide.
Now, if you see yourself as someone like myself and Ben that can stomach these markets and love buying investment properties when demand is low and there's incredible opportunities out there, then we would absolutely love to offer you a free strategy session. If you just head over to our website, www.pumpedonproperty.com, and follow the free strategy session links, you can book in a call with either myself, Simon, or my brother Ben, where we'll focus entirely on your situation. We'll look at exactly where you're at right now, where you're looking to be in the future. We'll educate you on the 20 largest property markets in Australia and help you identify those 3 super undervalued markets at the moment. And then you can just take that information and go and smash your investment goals by yourself. Or you can become one of the few people that we work with each week where we can support you on your journey to financial freedom. At the end of the day, we just want the absolute best for you guys. We want you to find the most undervalued markets, the most undervalued suburbs, and the best buying opportunities in 2026 and beyond. But either way, we just want the absolute best for you guys. So thank you for listening.